When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell all Pharaoh to let my people go. Thus spake the Lord, Moses said, let my people go. If not, I'll smite your firstborn dead. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell all Pharaoh to let my people
When Israel became a free nation after being led out of slavery in Egypt, they were given a set of laws and instructions from Yah through Moses, who had left them for a short time in order to receive those laws. The Israelites soon grew worried and began to press Aaron to make deities they could worship instead. This soon evolved into a golden calf being fashioned, for which they built an altar. And we are told, the people got up early the next morning to sacrifice burnt offerings and peace offerings. After this, they celebrated with feasting and drinking, and they indulged in pagan revelry. Long story short, Yah wanted to destroy the nation of Israel then and there and make a great nation from Moses instead, but he interceded on their behalf and pleaded with Yah to spare them. In the end, Moses forced the tribes to make a decision. Moses saw that Aaron had let the people get completely out of control, much to the amusement of their enemies. So he stood at the entrance to the camp and shouted, "All of you who are on Yah's side, come here and join me." And all the Levites gathered around him. Moses told them, "This is what Yah, the Elohim of Israel, says. Each of you take your swords and go back and forth from one end of the camp to the other. Kill everyone, even your brothers, friends, and neighbors." The Levites obeyed Moses' command, and about 3,000 people died that day. Then Moses told the Levites, "Today you have ordained yourselves for the service of Yah, for you obeyed him, even though it meant killing your own sons and brothers. Today you have earned the blessing." Because of their obedience to Yah, choosing the side with him and slaying their brethren, despite the opposition they faced from the other tribes, the tribe of Levi was thereafter set apart for service to Yah. For Yah, your Elohim, chose the tribe of Levi out of all your tribes to minister in Yah's name forever. But you and your sons, the priests, must personally handle all the priestly rituals associated with the altar and with everything behind the inner curtain. I am giving you the priesthood as your special privilege of service. Any unauthorized person who comes too near the sanctuary will be put to death. Now, this might be hard for some to accept today given the tender sensibilities that have developed in these last days, but be reminded of this. For all people are mine to judge, both parents and children alike, and this is my rule. The person who sins is the one who will die. In the book of Numbers, the 3rd chapter, we are given a particular account of the tribe of Levi, who were to serve as substitutes for all the firstborn sons of Israel. And Yah said to Moses, "Look, I have chosen the Levites from among the Israelites to serve as substitutes for all the firstborn sons of the people of Israel. The Levites belong to me, for all the firstborn males are mine. On the day I struck down all the firstborn sons of the Egyptians, I set apart for myself all the firstborn in Israel, both of people and of animals. They are mine. I am Yah." In a way, Yah equates the tribe of Levi to all of Israel. For in Exodus chapter 4 we read, "Then you will tell him, this is what Yah says, Israel is my firstborn son. I commanded you, let my son go, so he can worship me. But since you have refused, I will now kill your firstborn son." Israel is my firstborn son, says Yah. And that firstborn son was supposed to function as a kingdom of priests. But after repeatedly rebelling against Yah, they were eventually treated as Gentiles, with the tribe of Levi acting as their priests. Then Yah said to Moses, "Call forward the tribe of Levi and present them to Aaron the priest to serve as his assistants. They will serve Aaron and the whole community, performing their solemn duties in and around the tabernacle." One thing to note here is that while the tribe of Levi was given the priesthood as a special privilege of service, according to verse 7 of Numbers 3, they were primarily servants. So in a sense, they were the first among Israel, hence the Levites being substituted for all the firstborn sons, as stated in Numbers 3, verse 12, though we know that all who are first must be last. But Yeshua called them together and said, "You know that the princes of the Gentiles rule over their people, and officials flaunt their authority over those under them. But among you it will be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first among you must become your slave. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others, and to give his life as a ransom for many." From the time Israel was freed from captivity in Egypt, Yah desired to set them apart from all the nations of the world and place them above those nations, but only if they were obedient. "You have seen what I did to the Egyptians. You know how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now if you will obey me and keep my covenant, you will be my own special treasure from among all the peoples on earth, for all the earth belongs to me. And you will be my kingdom of priests, my pure nation." This is the message. His priests were to revere or feel a deep respect or admiration for him, and they were to stand in awe of his name. And we are told the covenant with the Levites was to result in life and peace. But why is that? The next verse tells us. "They passed on to the people the truth of the instructions they received from me. They did not lie or cheat. They walked with me, living good and righteous lives, and they turned many from lives of sin." Yah's priests are to pass on to others the instructions they receive from him. They are not to lie or cheat, but they are to walk with Yah. They are to live good, righteous lives and turn many from lives of sin. For the way of the righteous leads to life. That path does not lead to death.
My brethren, be strong in the Most High, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yah, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand and withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, take the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High Yah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1.
Family of the Most High Yah, we want to welcome you to the Sword of the Spirit audio broadcast teaching. We are your hosts of Service of Yah, and I just want to start off today's set-apart day with a scripture reading coming from Revelations 22 and 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. So as we do each and every Sabbath, we want to greet you in the name of our Master, Yahushua HaMashiach. I'm going to bring in my co-host, Shabbat Shalom, sis.
Shabbat Shalom, sis. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great now. Satan is a little busy today, but that's okay, as he always is. Yah has definitely moved this morning, and so everything is great. So,
well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm doing great. I woke up this morning with no headaches or anything, so I praise be to Yah, and I'm just glad to see his set-apart day, even though we have some little cool weather over here.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be 88 today. So
okay,
I think
so I'm waiting. I can't wait.
Yeah, it wasn't cool because I just stepped outside for a second.
Oh, you stepped out? Okay.
Yeah, it's not cool at all. No, No, but the sun is shining. It's not raining.
Yes, and it's not as cool as it was yesterday. So
yeah, and so we're welcome back because we have definitely missed you all. It feels like a void when we're not coming before you. I've become accustomed to coming before everyone, each and every Sabbath. So, missing some Sabbath and not being here and teaching, it felt kind of weird. So I was really pumped about coming back today. Even though we won't be on long today, I just want to quickly get into our 111th teaching, which is entitled Polygamy in the Land of Captivity. And this is actually being stated with a question mark. We're asking a question, polygamy in the land of captivity. And so today we're going to just basically discuss the act of polygamy itself and answer the question if we're able to actually practice this act in the land of captivity. And we're going to analyze the origin of this of this act, where it came from, go into Torah and read some of the scriptures that the Most High has set in place for this. And so today's lesson is not to, I won't say we're trying to sway you one way or the other, but we want to just give you the truth of what the scripture says concerning this. And particularly today, today's lesson is not about polygamy. Is this a sin or is it not a sin? We're not going into the Zadokite and the Damascus document. We're not doing that. It's specifically addressing what the title is stating, polygamy in the land of captivity. We want to go into what the scripture says about this and concerning this matter. And so for today, we have a brief clipping. It's actually a teaching from a brother in the faith. And this is, by far, to me, one of the best teachings that I have heard on polygamy as it pertains to our brothers and sisters participating in this in our land of captivity. And for the State of the Body panel discussion, we are going to give you a brief conference update. And we're going to give you some pertinent information concerning the 7th Annual Biblical Teaching Conference, which is coming up next Saturday, August 12th. And so we're just going to go right into that. Let's start with the time. Originally, I think it was, 9:45, Prina?
Yeah, I think it was like 9:45, 9:30.
Yeah, it was original. Okay, in order to, because this training, Prina and I have been working on this training, it's going to be very intense. For those of you who attended last year, it's not going to be like it was last year. It's going to be completely different. It's going to be more intense, more training, more research, presentations, role-playing. There's going to be a lot of different things. So we want to make sure that when you leave this conference, we know that a day is not enough. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, but we want to make sure that when you leave, our goal is that you are more proficient in defending what you believe, defending the epistles and the letters of Paul, and you can do it. You know, you might not be able to do it with automation. It's going to take some time because Paul's writings, as the scripture says, it is hard to understand. But we want to make sure that you are more proficient in defending what you believe, the faith of the apostles, the prophets, and our Messiah Yeshua, that you are more proficient in doing so than you were when you walked in that door. This is going to be a continuous process, but we want to set you on the right path. We want to give you some tools. We're going to be training people on how to study. Part of what you're going to be doing for the presentation is I hear a lot of people always compliment on the lessons and compliment on the way that I teach and the way that I explain it and break things down. Well, Prina and I are both, you know, educators by trade, even though neither one of us are in the classroom anymore, but we're educators by trade. So we're taking the principles that we have learned from education, and we're going to be applying those same principles into this workshop. And so you all will be the students. You will be digging in deep. You will be rolling up your sleeves. We're going to be going hard for that time that we're there. And I'm going to be, you know, revealing just the way that we're going to have you to present. You're going to be presenting in a way that you hear me each and every week come before you. So I'm going to be revealing a lot of the things that the Ruach has given to me, because I could not do any of the things that I do. I take no credit, and that's why I say always when people compliment, I say all praises be to the Most High, because it is the gift that He has given to me to be able to even do this. I could not do this on my own. Yeah. And so I give it all to Him. And so I'm going to be, the way that Yah has trained me on how to bring forth His word, because when I'm studying and He always, I'll just hear and something's being brought to the forefront. Now you need to do this. You need to do this. I'm going to show everyone that's at the training exactly how I study, how I teach, so that you can apply those same things, because nothing is a private interpretation. I'm not trying to hide something and say, oh, I ain't getting ready to reveal nothing. I'm not getting ready to tell anybody anything. No, I want you to be able to study and grow and learn and get some tools, you know, so that you're able to take those things and apply them and be even better. And so with any teacher, you want your students to do better than you. Just like as a parent, what do you always say? I want my child to have a better life than I did. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like me, I want my son to have a better life, so I'm going to go hard as a parent trying to train them and raise them up the way that, you know, we're supposed to. So with this conference, we're going to be really going in deep, and I'm excited. Prina's excited to do
I can't
this.
Wait.
Yeah, this is like, I think I'm probably more excited about this conference than I think that I've been about any of the other ones, because most of them is either we're presenting and revealing and exposing, but this time, this is going to be it's going to be a lot different. And so, you know, everyone's, you know, this is not going to be, so if you attended last year, don't expect what you expected last year. You're really going to be real students when you leave. And so, and it's going to all be for the betterment of the body, and because there's many members, and we all want to support each other, and that's what we're going to be there to do. And so I just can't wait. We're going to feed you good. You don't have to pay for anything. Just come. What we do want you to do is make sure you bring your Bibles. What else, Prina?
Laptops, if you have, if you can.
Or if you like to, laptop. Some people might use their phone.
Or tablet.
Your tablet. Or your strong Hebrew concordance, or you can use the online one. Any resource study tools that is going to help assist you in this, because we are going to be digging deep with Paul's letters. I want you all, by the time you leave, when a Christian or someone who is unlearned come to you trying to use Paul's letters against Yah and his word, you can, shut them down. Because he says, I'm going to put the word, the spirit of truth in your mouth, that those who come against you will not be able to contest it. They will not be able to contend against what you're saying when you know this word and you're able to explain it. It's no longer good enough for Yah's people to just read his word. But he says to study to show yourself approved. Well, at this conference, you are definitely going to be studying to show yourself approved. It's no longer good enough to just, I know that scripture or I know this word. How oftentimes do we say we know the word or we're familiar with this, but then when you are faced with a non-believer or a person who is unlearned, or a Christian, and they come and they use Paul's writings, and if you didn't know the word, you would believe what they were saying. But guess what? You can't shut them down. How many times have you been faced with, because there's some Christians who truly do know this word, and they can use it, their misunderstanding of Paul's letters against you, and have you almost believe in them. How many of you can honestly say, I can shut someone down when they come to me using Paul? I can defend my belief, because it's no longer good enough for us in this end time when people are going to be coming to the people of Yah, especially Israel.
Yeah.
We're supposed to, in Judah, we're supposed to be the priests. We're supposed to be the ones that's leading everyone else, waking up our brethren. We got to be able to defend what we believe. Mm-hmm. What's the hope that's in you? Do it in love, as the scriptures tell you, but you got to be able to explain in season and out of season the hope that's in you. Can you do that? And so this is the reason why we're having this training, and we're going to continue to have these types of trainings, because we're about building up Yah's army. It's time. There's a spiritual battle that's going on, and we got to be prepared. It ain't about I'm getting ready to get ready. He said be ready. Be ready. When somebody comes to you and they're attacking the faith, can you defend it?
Yeah.
How well, I'll ask this question, how well can you defend the faith?
Yeah.
How well can you defend it? So we got to make sure our armor is together. So I'm just super excited. Anything else we want to add? But the time, again, let me get back to the time. We need you there. For all that will be attending, we need you there at 9. We know we said 9:45. We did send out a week ago an updated flyer.
Yeah.
With the correct time, because we are getting started exactly. In order for us to really have this conference go off and as a success, and to be able to really have you dive in and the activities that we have for you, which is a number of them, we need for you to be there on time. We don't need CP time. We need you to be there at 9 a.m. Doors open up at 9. We're not opening them before 9 because we have the hotel for a certain time. But doors open at 9. We need you there at 9 o'clock, no later than 9:10.
Yeah.
We will be serving light. We're not serving breakfast, but we will be serving donuts, tea, and hot chocolate, just because it's going to be a little bit longer than we anticipated. So we didn't want to have you there starving from 9 to 12:30, because lunch is 9 to 12:30. So, and then we will have snacks, throughout. And you're free, when you're working in your groups, to just get up and get whatever you need. We're not going to have no snack time and all of that. This ain't preschool. Just whenever you want to get up, you just go ahead and get up. But so we need you there at 9. So for those of you who are listening, 9 a.m. Because at 9:15 we're going to begin with the blowing of the shofar. We have Sister Vicky Cox, yay, and Autumn, who has had her shofar. Autumn, are you listening? No more playing around. You can't hide. I know she listening. We need you blowing them pipes with Vicky. You and Vicky gonna be together blowing the shofar, and we're gonna have the welcome and the prayer, and then we're going to go right into the instructions. So you need to be there at 9 so that you can get your donuts, your coffee, your tea, whatever, hot chocolate, so that you can be seated and waiting and ready for when we blow the shofar and have the instructions, because we are going to go right into the instructions, and they're very specific. The instructions that we're giving out, and we don't want you coming in late, because anybody that come in late, there's too many instructions for you to start it. Then when you go get with your group, because we're assigning, you're going to be at groups of 5. Not everybody else got to stop researching and doing what they're doing to tell you. You know what I'm saying? So please let's have spirit of integrity. Let's be on time. Go to bed early. Friday evening, go to bed early and get you some sleep, set your alarm clock, and make sure you're there at 9 o'clock, okay? And anything you want to add, Prina?
You added all, sis?
Yeah, because I'm trying to think if there was anything else.
Yes. I don't think we missed anything.
Because the morning is, we have 3 workshops, Workshop A, Workshop B, and Workshop C. Workshop A is going to be, I think that one is from 9:30 to 11. No, 9:30 to 12. So that's the reason why we need you there at 9, because 9:15 we're going to do the welcome, the prayer, the instructions, and then 9:30 we're going to begin. Yeah. At 9:30, and 9:30 is workshop A, and in that workshop that is from 9:30 to 12. And I have on the flyer a.m., but you all know what I mean, because it's 9:30 a.m. to 12 noon. And then, and within there, that also includes the time for presentations. Yeah. Okay. And then workshop B is where you'll be doing the hands-on workshop, where you'll be practicing the role-playing exercises for workshop C, and that's from 12 to 12:30. And then lunch is from 12:30 to 1:30, and then from 1:30 to 2:30, that's when we're having our biblical learning communities. And this is a whole group activity. And so everything that you learn from workshop A and B, now you're going to have to show and prove, so to speak. Okay, you're going to show and demonstrate mastery of the concepts of everything that you have learned from workshops A and B, and then following that, we're going to have a brief time for reflection and then receiving of the certificates. And then Prina and I have just decided that we want to have fellowship afterwards, so we're going to have a movie. I have not seen What the Health. Prina just saw it. I don't know who else has seen it, so we're going to kind of take a survey. We're thinking about showing that, and I may have another movie on deck just in case. If the majority of the people there say they've seen it, then I'm not going to hold everybody else up to, watch that if they've already seen it. So we'll just wait. I'll have 2 things on deck just in case, but we kind of just want to have some fellowship afterwards. And so I think that's it. Just when you come, bring everything you feel that you would need to help you to study, just like you would at home. Pen, notebook, paper, whatever. I think we're going to have pens and notebook paper on deck, but just bring it anyway. In case. And so I think that's pretty much it. I just wanted to really emphasize on the time because I know how our people are. This is not the event for CP time because you're going to get left behind. You're going to get left behind. And so let's get right into today's 111th teaching. Again, it's entitled Polygamy in the Land of Captivity. And before I even get started, I want to just go right into the audio clip. We're going to go right into the teaching. This teaching is less than 5 minutes, but this brother taught this so well. Yeah. And I was like, I love the way he taught this, and he was not being biased one way or the other. He was just specifically stating what Scripture says, and he really gave you something to consider. And so when he's done teaching, we're going to add our little 2 cents to it, and then anyone who wants to add something at the end, you can go ahead and do so, because he doesn't cover everything as far as the laws, and that's why we're going to pick up and add in what he has left out. So we're going to just listen to this clip, and then we will come right back.
The message today is entitled Polygamy. Is it legal or illegal? Can I do it if I want to? Polygamy is defined as having multiple wives. This practice can be seen in Scripture. We see it in Genesis chapter 4, verse 23, where Lamech had 2 wives. We see it in Genesis chapter 16, verse 3, where Abraham had 2 wives, Sarah and Hagar. We see in Genesis chapter 29 and 30, Jacob had 4 wives. We see David with multiple wives. We see Solomon with multiple wives. Now the question becomes, I see all of these men in Scripture having multiple wives, practicing polygamy. Can I do the same today in the land in which I live? Let me answer by saying this. If the law of the land in which you dwell states that it is legal, then you have the right to practice polygamy. This reminds me of a story of a young man I talked to that lives in another country. And he said that the law of his land states that he can have multiple wives legally. And I told him, brother, by all means, do it. However, it is, let me stress this again, it is illegal in the United States to have multiple wives. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but my research indicates that it is either a felony or a misdemeanor to have multiple wives in the United States of America. Therefore, we must try and live a Torah-based life in a non-Torah-keeping environment. In other words, we must obey the laws of the land unless those laws of the land violate the laws of Almighty. We must render to Caesar that which is Caesar, but we must render unto Almighty the things that belong to Almighty. In this land, Caesar, which is the law of the land, states that it is illegal to have multiple wives. Let me say this again. There is no law in the word of Almighty that commands you to have more than one wife. Therefore, the law of the land does not violate the laws of Almighty. Here's some wise counsel. Obey the government rulers. Let's take a look at Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 7. And seek the peace of the city, where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to Yah for it, talk about the city, for in its peace, the peace of the city, you will have peace. Let me say this. You will have no peace if you're doing illegal things such as polygamy in a land that is not yours, in a land that states that it is illegal to have multiple wives. You're like a powder keg waiting for something to happen to expose what you're doing. If you live in a land in which it is not permitted to have multiple wives, then you must obey the laws of the land. Until next time, this is the minister. Shalom, shalom.
So we are back. All right, Prina, are you in?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so just listening to the teaching that's happened, I just want to, there's a couple of things I want to bring up. I told you there were some things that Yah had placed on my heart. And okay, so I'm going to kind of go into that, and then I will bring you back in when I'm done.
Okay.
There are some things that are allowed that are not sin, or those things that are allowed that does not break Torah or the laws of Yah, but it's not productive or edifying in doing so. So I'm going to say that again. There are some things that we may be allowed to do, things that may be permissible, that is not sin, but at the same time, it is not productive or edifying. And so I wanted to read a precept. I want to read 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and 23. If you could just go there right quick. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23. It says, and this is Apostle Paul speaking, he says, all things are lawful to me, but not all things profit. All things are lawful to me, but not all things edify. So when Paul's saying that all things, is he talking about everything that is lawful? Well, no. But we have to, again, as we're going to learn in the conference, we have to understand things in the context in which they're being spoken. Again, we know Paul's epistles and these were letters. He's addressing a lot of the concerns that are going on in Corinth. And so as you continue to, if you read the surrounding scriptures, he's dealing with an issue of eating things that may or may not be sacrificed to idols and not knowing. And Paul is saying, all things are lawful to me, but not all things are profitable to me. Okay, if we go back and we look at 1 Corinthians, and we go back, let's start with, let me see here. Let me go start with verse 18. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and 18. It says, look at Israel, whose observances is according to flesh. Are not those eating the sacrifices partakers of the altar? What then do I say? That an idol is nothing, or that an adulterous sacrifice is nothing? He says no. But the things the pagans sacrifice, he says, that they sacrifice to demons and not to Yah. But I do not want you to have fellowship with demons. You cannot drink from the cup of the master and the cup of demons. You cannot partake of the table of our master and the table of demons. Or do we provoke our master to jealousy, and are we stronger than he? All things are lawful to me. Now, this is where a lot of Christians, they'll read and say, see, Paul is saying that we can eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. All things are lawful. That's not what he's saying here. You've been, a lot of times, okay, if you've ever been invited over to a family member or a friend's house for dinner, and they're making macaroni and cheese, or they've made things, if you do not know for sure that they have put things in it, or if they have not told you that I put pork in this, you don't want to go around and offend and just naturally assume. So what Paul is saying here is that all things are lawful, those things which Yah says is lawful, but the minute he says that someone tells you that this is something that has been sacrificed, because if you go down, and because I'm not going to read this whole chapter, I'm just quickly giving you the understanding of this. If you go down to verse 28, he says, but if anyone tells you that this is slain and is sacrificed to idols, he said, and then that's when you don't eat. But if I know that macaroni and cheese is not unlawful, Okay? It's not unlawful for me to eat dressing. It's not unlawful for me to eat chicken. Okay? So I don't have to say grandma, and I don't have to be offensive to someone who has took the time out to prepare and make me a food. Well, I'm not going to eat it if they have not told you, if it's lawful for you to eat it, Paul is saying then eat it. He says, but if they tell you, see, we got to read things in context. Christians don't do this. They're going to go straight to verse 23, and now they don't made a new law that Paul has now said it's okay to eat shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster. That's not what's being said here. If you read the preceding verses and the one after, he's making the point very clear. We don't go around offending people just because everyone isn't as knowledgeable. But if someone comes out and tells you, okay, I'm having a gathering for Christmas, you don't go. That's what he's pretty much saying here. If they tell you, they didn't tell you, and the food is lawful to eat it. That's what he's saying here. I'm hoping that I'm kind of clearing this up. But the minute they tell you, you know what, I put some pork grease in there, okay, that's when you don't eat it or if they're making this dinner for somebody's birthday. Well, now you're making this to the Queen of Heaven. I'm not coming. We've all been there where someone invites you over for dinner and they just say, well, we're just having a gathering. We want you to come over. Okay, well, it is not unlawful for you to go to a gathering with family. But the minute they tell you, well, we having a dinner, but it's in honor of Juju's birthday, you can't go to Jubug's birthday. Now you cannot go to the dinner. Why? Because the family member has now changed it. They have told you that this is not just a regular dinner, but this is a dinner that is in honor of another God. That's what Paul is saying here. So, that's not what today's lesson was, but I had to break down what this means just in case someone is saying, well, Paul is saying all things are lawful, but they're not profitable. So, everything there's a lot of things that may not break the law, but at the same time, it doesn't edify for you to do it or to be a part of it. And so the Blue Letter Bible for profit, some of your scriptures may say all things are lawful to me, but not all things are expedient. It's the same thing. So if it says expedient or profit, it's the same thing. The Blue Letter Bible for profit or expedient, in the context in which this particular verse is being spoken, it means that better, to be better. Not all things are better. Not all things are, it says to be good, to be better, to conduce an advantage. Not all things are going to be an advantage. Even though Paul's saying it may be lawful for you to do it, but it's not going to bring you an advantage. It's not going to produce advantage. It's not going to be better for you or be good for you to do it, even though it's not breaking Torah. The Blue Letter Bible says also in this verse, profit also means to help. It may be lawful, but it's not helpful. And the last phrase and understanding for profit in 1 Corinthians 10 and 23, it says to contribute in order to help. So even though this may be something that may be lawful for you to do, doesn't break Torah, does this contribute in order to help you? Does this edify you? He says all things are lawful, but all things don't edify. All things don't edify. The Blue Letter Bible for edify means to build up, to repair, to restore, to promote growth, to promote wisdom, to promote affection, virtue, holiness, set-apartness, and blessedness. So even though it's lawful for you to do it, does it build up? That's what Paul is saying. Does it repair? Everything that's lawful doesn't always build you up. Everything that's lawful doesn't always restore. Everything that's lawful does not always promote growth, wisdom, affection, virtue, set-apartness, and blessedness. And thesaurus.com, edify means to instruct or improve, to teach, to enlighten, to uplift. So I kind of want to go into the original pattern that Yah set for marriage. If you could quickly go to Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. Genesis 2 and 24, Yah says, therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and shall cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Okay, Echad. They shall become one flesh. So, again, Yah has already given us the original pattern. A man will leave his father and his mother, and the two will become one flesh. Again, there were many things that were allowed, and although it did not break Torah, it was not profitable. It was not for the best. It did not contribute to being better. It did not contribute to restoring. It did not contribute to building up. It did not contribute to promoting affection, being blessed. As we just learned, the Blue Letter Bible terms for this particular word study that we just got finished doing. I want to read my second precept. If you could quickly go to Romans chapter 14, verse 10. Romans 14, verse 10. All right. Paul is saying here in Romans 14 and 10, he says, so then let us pursue what leads to peace and to mutual edification. He says, let us pursue what leads to peace. We should be running after and striving after those things that lead to peace, that leads to harmony, that leads to unity. And to what? Mutual. That means on both ends, not just one-sided where one person is happy, one person is feeling like they're blessed and is feel like they're receiving affection and one person feel like it's better for them and that it's building them up, but then the other person is feeling like crap. Romans 10 and 14 and 10 says, so then let us pursue what leads to peace and to mutual edification. So this is not a one-sided thing here that Romans 14 and 10 is saying. So we're going to talk about the origin. Where is the origin? Where did this come from? Who was the first one to be involved in the act of polygamy, of multiple wives, having more than one wife that was basically, I'm not going to say going astray, but went in a different pattern of what the Most High had originally set in Genesis chapter 2. If you could quickly go to Genesis chapter 4, and we're going to read verses 17 through 19. Genesis chapter 4, verses 17 through 19. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch, and he built a city, and he called the name of the city according to the name of his son Enoch. And Arad was born to Enoch, and Arad fathered Methuel, and Methuel followed Methuselah, and Methuselah fathered Lamech. And Lamech, verse 19, took two wives to himself. The name of the first was Adah, and the name of the second was Zillah. So we see that Lamech was the first man to be engaged in the act of polygamy, the act of multiple wives. And he took two wives to himself. And when we just read the genealogy, we know that Lamech comes from the wicked seed of Cain, a wayward generation of murderers who tended to do nothing but go in opposition to the way of the Most High. Since the beginning, this is what the lineage and those who came from the seed of Cain did. They went wayward to the ways of Yah. So we cannot possibly use this as a justification for something that we should be following after. In fact, again, they're the originators of this practice, and that should like have some kind of a red flag. Okay? Did Yah allow it? Yes, he did allow it. Are there laws for taking a second wife? Yes. But was this his original pattern for marriage? Absolutely not. But just like anything else, because of the hardness of our hearts, because of the hardness and the desire, shall I say, of our hearts, it was granted. So we're not doing today's teaching to say that it was not allowed and that Yah did not have provisions for it, because he did. The question that we're presenting today and what we want you to ponder on is, was it profitable? Did it bring peace? Was it better or of a better advantage, as we learn in the Blue Letter Bible? Did it promote affection? Did it promote wisdom? Did it contribute to blessedness? Again, did it bring peace? And was it helpful to all parties involved? Because remember, Romans 14 and 10 says that we are to pursue that what leads to peace and mutual. The key word is mutual edification. And so I'm going to have Prina come back in now, because Prina is going to give us, according to Torah, the laws that the Most High has set in place for taking a second wife.
Okay, so the law that it comes from of taking a multiple wife is Exodus 21, 10 through 11. And it reads, if he take him another wife, food, raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. And if he does not do these three things unto her, then she shall go out free without money.
Mm-hmm. So you said, was they them three again?
It says, and if he do not do these three unto her, then she shall go out free without money. So
what's those three things?
Yes, those three things: food, raiment, and her duty of marriage.
So that means everything. What that everything that she is supposed to have as a wife, all the privileges that a wife gets. He cannot cease from doing those things. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so what do we see, Prina, going on in Israel today? Do we see this happening? Because I can tell you for a fact, I knew of some brothers, and these are brothers who are all on YouTube, who go out and so-called street preaching, and they got videos, and they're, doing shows and all of this stuff, and they're sitting at home while they have two wives, and the wives are working. Mm-hmm. And they're not. They talking about they doing the work of Yah. That's their job, doing the work of Yah. They don't have a job.
Yes.
We're going to see how that's going to go over with Yah.
Yeah.
Is the man supposed to be sitting at home, is my question, while the wives are working? Mm-hmm. What did I say earlier? I said, if you are a man and you take on a second wife, first of all, if your first wife got to work, if your first wife is not a stay-at-home mom, okay, you have no business taking on a second wife. You are not in a position.
Yeah.
Because when we go into it with our forefathers, they took care of those women. They had their own house. They had houses for them, their own food, clothing, whatever they needed, emotionally, physically, spiritually, they took care of it. If your first wife is working, you have no business. I'm seeing dudes sitting up here with their first wife working, going to get a second wife, and they can't even take care of the first wife, because you should be in a position where your first wife shouldn't even have to work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what are you getting a second wife for? You can't even afford it. I'm not trying to put down anybody who has has a household or family where the husband and the wife work, because I do realize we are in Babylon, and it does take two working people just about to make it. So I understand that. My point is this: if you are not well off enough where your wife can stay at home and tend to the children and not have to work, you don't have no business going to get a second wife, because you can't even do that with your first wife. And I'm seeing dudes where not only is the first wife working, but the second wife is working. They sitting up at home. Tell me, I'm studying the scriptures. Where your check coming from for that? Because I should be paid right now if that's the case. Because you know I stand his word. I should be a millionaire.
Yeah.
I'm not understanding this. I'm not understanding this. Israel is not doing things according to the scriptures. The main reason, and I'm going to be honest, a lot of them are doing it because they're being filled with the spirit of lust.
Yeah.
They're getting into situations where they're having multiple wives and then everyone's having sex together. This is not no orgy type of thing. You're going to be in the lake doing that.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I was just, they're coveting these women, and they're allowing the lust of their eyes to go seek out other women so that they can have they cake, as you say, and ice creams,
and everything else to come with it.
Yes, and they're not doing it for the reasons that our forefathers did it.
Let me tell you, can I tell you this, Prina, and everybody listening? I don't have guys, that's why I don't care nothing about nobody with no beard, no tassel, no shalomim, no Canaan, how much Hebrew you speak, how tight your hair wrapped up. I don't care about any of that. I don't have guys that's claiming they're walking in truth. And, I have the spirit of discernment where I have picked up the spirit of lust off of a lot of these Hebrew guys. I've had Hebrew guys inboxing me, and they're married, inboxing me, trying to get me to do things and engage in, I'm just going to put it out, engage in activity, and I'm not sexual activities, but engage in activities that would include you hanging out with the kids. Should not the wife be inboxing another woman to ask her to do something involving the kids? If I'm going to have a play day, I'm not getting ready. My husband has no business contacting another woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Involving for a play date. No. That's out of order. It's out of order. But I'm much smarter than a lot of the sisters, because a lot of the stuff that I see coming in my news feed and just from a lot of these Hebrew groups, a lot of the women thinking sex is marriage, and these guys telling them all kind of stuff, and I'm like, ladies, come on. Y'all gotta read, because people are leading y'all astray. This is your life. This is your salvation. This is your soul. Y'all listening to these dudes because they got their head wrapped up and got on what they think is Hebrew garments, and they can speak the language. Y'all say he looks at the heart. He does not look at the outward appearance. He doesn't care about any of that.
Yeah.
You got to get in his word, and you got to know what it says for yourself. I can't go off of what some guy that's in a camp is telling me just because he got a following and he got people listening to him, so I'm just going to trust his word. No. That's why we did that teaching. Sex is not marriage. I couldn't even believe that I had to even do a teaching like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that many women did not get that understanding. Even in Christianity, I knew better than that.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on now.
You knew it if you wasn't in Christianity.
I could have been an atheist and I'd have known that.
It's not marriage.
Satan probably like, come on now. He probably sit back like, for real?
Like I was sharing with you before, I said it seemed like you go when the women that come out of Christianity, I don't know, they lose something. And they're just common sense thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying all. But I'm saying the women that choose to allow these men to talk them into sex as marriage. I mean, you knew sex wasn't marriage before you even found out the truth of who Yah is and of His commandments, and so it's just mind blowing to me when you see people walking that's supposed to be walking in truth but still blind.
You know what it is, Prina? A lot of women are not really reading. They're going and they're listening to someone, but they're not reading. A lot of men are oppressing the women, and this is the reason why they have them all kind of bondage. Oh, a woman can't teach. Oh, a woman, you know, they're coming up with all these laws that are not laws. That is not Torah.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want your personal opinion on what you think I should do with my head. I don't, because it's not. Just as Paul said, if anyone wants to be contentious about it, we don't have these customs in the assembly of Yah. I am not for or against it. I've seen very beautiful head coverings.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to do it, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with it. It is lawful to wear a head covering. There's nothing wrong with it. But you're not going to tell me that if I don't put on something on my head when I'm praying or when I'm prophesying or just in general that I'm sinning. That is not a sin.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to tell me that it's a sin because I study. See, they get a lot of women in these congregations with these camps that don't study, that hang on their every word, and they don't study to show themselves approved. They don't test the spirit. They don't examine to see if it be a Yah. They just trust that it's like they go from pastor pork chop to, you know, super duper Hebrew. You know, it's one or the other. It's like get in His word and see what it says for yourself. You, at the end of the day, you are responsible. You're not going to stand there with somebody from a camp. You know, that's why I don't deal with these camps.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have nothing to do with them. I am an Israelite, okay, from the tribe of Judah. We are the chosen people. We're not affiliated with no church, no camp, no nothing. We are just servants of Yah. We serve the Most High.
Yeah.
And we support and defend the truth. That's it. I'm not attaching myself to nothing because nobody is going to impede on the Ruach HaKodesh speaking through me and working through me to do His will. I'm doing what He has called me to do, and I'm not getting ready to allow no man to stop me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I obey what the word says to do. I believe in the headship. I believe that a woman is supposed to submit to her husband. I believe all of that. I'm a supporter of it. This is not about that. But the brother who did this teaching is from the Hebrew congregation in Atlanta. And what I have liked about a lot of their teachings that I have looked at is that they are not biased towards women in their teachings. They're not putting their personal opinions or their spin on it. They don't have any personal agendas. They're just teaching you what the word says. They may believe something different, but that's not what they're doing. When we come before you each and every week, it's not about us. We don't come here telling you what our personal opinion is. No one cares about what my opinion is. Yah doesn't care what my opinion is. My job is to teach what His word says.
Yeah. And He commanded us, in Deuteronomy, He said, do not add or take away from His word.
Yeah, don't add or take away. And a lot of women are being oppressed and not being able to operate in the gift that Yah has given to them because these men are telling them, you can't teach, you can sit down, shut up, sit in the kitchen, don't do nothing. When you on your period, sit in a chair and face the wall and don't do, it's like all kind of foolishness. And that is not of Yah. You men need to go back and listen to our weaker vessel lesson and learn how precious the woman is to the Most High and learn the role. Learn the role. I would advise anyone who has not heard the 110 teaching women, the weaker vessel, to go back and find out the true meaning. I have so much more respect. I've already respected women anyway.
Yeah.
But I have so much more respect for women now. And men need to go back and listen to it and learn how you are supposed to treat your wife, because a lot of you men are going to be, a judgment is going to fall down on you because you are being treacherous towards your wives. You're being unkind to that which he says you're supposed to treat more precious. Just as you know with China, fine wine, diamonds, when you got something nice, you keep it locked up. You keep it in a special place. You treat it with special care because you know how special it is. So when you can take something that is special and destroy it and don't care, then that says a lot, because the woman comes from the man. She was taken from you. What you do to her is what you do to yourself. And so we wanted to come before you today with this because a lot of men, and I know there is a big problem in Israel with the spirit of lust and the spirit of the pride, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. But that spirit of lust is on our men strong. Yeah. Lust is what's driving, and I'm going to be honest, lust is what's driving the majority of our men to seek after this. Because you are in your land of captivity. Yeah. He didn't send you over here to come and build. That's not why he sent you over here. You over here because you're on punishment. Yeah. Just as the gentleman said in the video, it is illegal. Yeah. It is illegal in the United States to be in a polygamous relationship, to have multiple wives. It is not legal. We are to follow the laws of the land in captivity where he scattered us. The gentleman already read it. You are not going to have peace if you breaking laws in this land. They already waiting to hook us up anyway. So we're going to go into the situations, and some of the situations where, some of our forefathers who had multiple wives, and we're going to go into the results. What was the outcome of this? Because from every situation that I saw and read, it caused nothing but heartache, strife, anger, bickering, hatred, pain. To this very day, to this very day, polygamy is causing all kind of confusion, and people are dying daily because of this. Where women, there's nothing mutual. It's not mutual edification. It's just the dudes that's being edified because now they get to go in different women, because most of it is lust. Yeah. And I know for a fact a lot of the guys that want to get in this, I told you I picked up the spirit of lust. Yeah. And it was very strong. Very strong.
And I just want to say this too, Shaitan, even if the women were in agreement, most of them weren't in agreement in the beginning. They were wore down.
No, they wore them down, like Steve Urkel said.
Until they submit to do it.
Or they were afraid of losing them, because I would be like, peace out, bye.
I know that's right, because I ain't sharing with no one.
No. Yeah, so, and again, this lesson is not about is it a sin or is it not a sin. We realize y'all did you finish reading the other scriptures?
With the king, no.
Go ahead and read the others, because she read the one where basically if you are to take another wife, you have to provide for her food, clothing, raiment. That is not being done with Israel. Most of them, they're not doing that, at least the ones I know. Yeah.
And the second one is the law of the king. And this is coming from Deuteronomy 17, verses 15 through 17. And it says, in verse 15, "You shall in any wise set him king over you, whom Yah your Almighty shall choose. One from among your brothers shall you set king over you. You may not set a stranger over you, which is not your brother. But you shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as Yah hath said to you, you shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall you multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn away. Neither shall he greatly multiply himself silver and gold.
Mhm. You want to add? You want to kind of explain that?
Okay, so basically, this was a commandment that the Most High Yah had given if you were a king, and this is because he wanted. If you look at King Solomon, he gave specific instructions that he should not multiply wives because it would turn their hearts away from him. And we know with King Solomon, that was what was his fate in the end, and he ended up losing where the kingdom was rented from, his hand, and the northern and the southern tribe was split from his hardness of his heart, and because it caused him to commit idolatry with his other wives, which ultimately turned his heart away from Yah's laws and commandments and statutes.
Yeah, and this one, I want to kind of focus on the fact that when he's asking them not to multiply wives, is because there's more responsibility. Mm-hmm. There's going to be less time for you to do the things of Yah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because you have one wife, that's enough. Most men can't even take care. And let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest. And this is not to put anyone down.
Because
Israel, we still on the bottom. We still trying to act like we kings on top.
Mm-hmm.
We are still on the bottom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay? Half of us can't even barely take care of one wife, let alone take care of two.
Yeah.
I know very few households where the wife can be a stay-at-home mom. So why is it that the majority of these people are asking to get into these, that this is not what's occurring?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you cannot provide for food, clothing, and raiment, you should not even be thinking about adding on a second wife. And then for a man to be working, to not be working, and you got a second wife, and both your first and your second wife is working, taking care of you,
yeah,
you way out of order. You are sinning because you're breaking Torah now. That second wife can leave you. The first one can. She can just leave you and go because you're not taking care of neither one of them.
Yeah.
What do you say? A man that doesn't take care of his family is worse than an infidel. An infidel is an unbeliever.
Mm-hmm. What
is the fate for an unbeliever? The lake of fire. So you have a wife and you have a child and you're not taking care of their needs, Yah is not very pleased with you.
Yeah.
This is Torah.
Mm-hmm.
She can leave you. So when you have a situation where you have more responsibility, the more wives you have, the less time you're going to be able to devote to the things of Yah. That's why he said that you're not supposed to be, if you're going to be a king, you want to call yourself a king. Israel's always saying we're the kings, we're the royal priesthood, right? We're supposed to be the priests, we're supposed to be the kings. Well, we're not supposed to be having second wives.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Yeah.
You just contradicted yourself. He said don't take a second wife. He said don't even multiply the horses. She just got finished reading that.
Mm-hmm. And then also, I was looking at 20, and it says, which stood out, it says that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. Mm-hmm. And so, like you said, he's supposed to be upholding the law, and if he has all these multiple wives and taking on concubines of another nation, eventually their guys, they're going to infiltrate in what he's supposed to be upholding, and it's going to cause him to look to that left and to that right and cause him to stumble and fall and be a snare to him.
Yeah, because men are weak for women. Look what happened with what was that? Samson and Delilah. Samson and Delilah.
Yeah.
Men are very weak for women. The power of a woman, period. They look at a woman body and they go nuts. They'll give her just about anything. And so, but I'm going to start with Abraham, and we can go to Genesis chapter 16, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 6. Genesis 16, 1 through 6. All right. And Sarah, and this is Abraham and Sarah, okay? Abraham and Sarah, and Sarah was barren, could not have children. And we're going to go ahead and read. Did Abraham want another wife because he was filled with the spirit of lust and he just wanted to have another wife? Did he just come home and bring a wife home to Hagar and say, here's our new addition to the family? Let's find out and see. And Sarah, Abraham's wife, did not bear to him, and to her belonged a female slave, an Egyptian, and her name was Hagar. And Sarah said to Abram, see now, Yah has kept me from bearing. Go in now to my handmaid. So he says, go in now to my handmaid. She's saying, sleep with him. Okay, sleep with her. Perhaps I may be built up from her. So she's telling her husband to go sleep with another woman, Hagar, so that maybe the nation can be built up through her. And Abraham listened to the voice of Sarah. So we see right here, this was not Abraham's idea. This was Sarah, his wife's idea. She's the one that brought her to her husband. This wasn't Abraham wanted to just have a second wife for lust purposes. It was a reason. As we're going to show you, it was a reason why our forefathers did it. And Sarah, Abraham's wife, took her slave girl Hagar, the Egyptian, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. So this was, again, this is Sarah's idea. You're looking at it in verse 3. After Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan, and he went into Hagar, meaning Abraham slept with Hagar, and she conceived. So now she's pregnant. And she saw that she had conceived, and her mistress was despised in her eyes. So now remember, this is Sarah's idea, okay? But when she finds out that now that the mistress is now what? Pregnant, she sees that now she despises Hagar. She hates her. She hates her now. Verse 5, and Sarah said to Abram, my injury be upon you. I gave my slave girl into your bosom, and she saw that she had conceived, and I was despised in her eyes. Let Yah judge between me and you. So Sarah said to Abram, look, I'm the one that gave you this slave girl, Hagar, and I know she's pregnant now, but now I despise her. She despises her now. But Abram said to Sarah, see, your slave girl Hagar is in your hand. So he's like, look, babe, okay, you upset about this. You hate her now. This is in your hand, meaning I'm leaving this in the ball's in your court. What is it that you want me to do? Because I didn't want her. You the one that brought her to me. So what is it that you want me to do? I'm leaving it up to you. This is what Abram is really saying here. He says to do to her what is good in your eyes. So he's leaving it, look, whatever you feel is rightful in your eyes to do to Hagar, go ahead and do it. And Sarah did what? It says Sarah dealt harshly with her, and she fled from her face. So she mistreated her.
Yeah.
She hated her, even though it was what? Her idea. She hated her.
Yeah.
See, the reason why polygamy or the multiple wives situation where Hagar was done in the first place, it was done out of impatience and a lack of faith in Yah. That's why it was done. They couldn't wait.
Yeah.
Even though he had already told her that she was gonna have a child, they couldn't wait. It was done out of impatience and a lack of faith in Yah. What came from this? What? Envy, jealousy, hatred. Who suffered a heartache? Hagar. The oath that was made to her was what? Broken. Was there peace from this situation? Because didn't he say let everything be done in peace and mutual edification? Was there mutual peace? Was there mutual edification, which means did this promote affection? Did Hagar feel like she received any affection from this situation? Was this also means to be better, to do better? Did it produce any of these things when we did the word study on to edify, to build up? Did it build her up while she on the run because she being mistreated?
Yeah.
Let's go to Isaac. Let's go to Isaac, because we know that Isaac. Let's go to Genesis chapter 29. Let's go to Genesis 29. We almost done. Genesis chapter 29, and we're going to read verses 23 through 25. Genesis chapter 29. We're going to read 23 through 25. Okay. And it happened in the morning, behold, she was Leah. Now, let me just, for those of you who don't have a background, Isaac wanted Rachel. Rachel was the one that he wanted to marry. Isaac. He wanted, was it Jacob or Isaac?
Jacob.
Okay, why am I looking at Isaac? Okay, Jacob. Jacob wanted Rachel. That did not happen. As we get ready to see, the father tricked him. He thought that he was going into Rachel, but it was who? Leah. So once again, did Jacob go into this situation and say, you know what? I want me another wife, and so let me just go ahead and mess around with Leah, and then I'm going to go ahead and take her sister too and be wife. That's not what happened here. How did Jacob end up in a polygamous marriage? How did he end up having multiple wives? Let's read it. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Isaac when it's Jacob. Excuse me, everybody. I'm going to get it together. Genesis 29, verses 23 through 25. And it happened in the evening. He took his daughter Leah and brought her to him, and he went in to her. And Laban gave to her Zilpah, her slave girl, to his daughter Leah as a slave. And it happened in the morning, behold, she was Leah. And he said to Laban, What have you done to me? Did I not serve you for Rachel? Why have you, tricked me? So this is right here, the scripture is telling you that he was tricked. Jacob didn't just go into this situation wanting a second wife. That wasn't what he wanted. He only wanted one wife. And who was that wife he wanted? He wanted Rachel. He was tricked. He was unknowingly forced into a polygamous marriage. Because why? He said, you know what? It's not our custom to give away the youngest. So if you want Rachel, you got to work another 7 years. So what did Jacob work for? 14 years?
Yeah.
Just so he loved Rachel so that he could get her. Okay, and he did that, but he didn't have lust in his heart. He never went in it was never his intent to have two wives. People keep talking about Abraham had wives and Isaac and Jacob and so, but it wasn't their call. It was a wife call with Abraham, and with Jacob he was what? Tricked. All is lawful, but all is not what? Profitable. What came out of this? Deception, deceit, trickery, and dishonesty.
Yeah.
Nothing good came from it.
Yeah.
Let's go on to David. Our forefather David, King David. We see in 2 Samuel chapter 12, because I'm not getting ready to really read the whole thing, but if you can go to 2 Samuel chapter 12, we're going to read verses 8 through 10. But in 2 Samuel chapter 12, David commits adultery with Bathsheba. He sees Bathsheba bathing on the roof. Don't ask me why she on the roof naked bathing, but she was, okay? Okay? And he, became filled with lust. And he decided that I want her, okay? And he committed some vile acts to get to her, okay? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But David, he committed adultery with Bathsheba, okay, because adultery is sex with a married woman. And he also committed fornication because he also had wives, okay?
Yeah.
So, but David committed adultery with Bathsheba. And then when he was not able to cover up his sin after she became pregnant, because not only did he sleep with another man's wife, Bathsheba actually got pregnant, and he wasn't able to cover it up. And so David arranged for the murder of Bathsheba's husband Uriah, who was the Hittite. Okay, he gave the charge that put him in the front of the battle of war so that he would be killed, to make sure that he was killed. Okay, and so although David was forgiven, because Nathan had to come to him and help him to see his sin. He didn't see his sin, okay? And so, again, although David was forgiven and he was restored after he committed fornication and adultery, but then Nathan prophesied to David and that he told him that you're going to continue to suffer for the choices you made. Even though y'all forgave him, what you reap, you sow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think people don't believe that. People do not believe that you reap what you sow. What you get is going to come back. But Nathan told David that the sword would never leave his house. And the son that David conceived with Bathsheba, eventually he said it would suffer death. Yah was going to take his firstborn, his son that he had with Bathsheba. And David, what did he do? He fasted, he prayed before Yah and cried out for Yah concerning this matter, that he would save his son. But judgment had already been delivered. What drove David to do all of this? The spirit of lust. And what I was telling you, Prina, earlier this morning, coveting.
Yeah.
Coveting is the cause. Coveting is the root cause of all sin. That's the root cause. That's the reason why we break every commandment, every statute, law, judgment of Yah. It's because you're coveting. When you unlawfully desire something that belongs to someone else, does not belong to you, or has not been given to you by the will of Yah, that's when you steal, because you coveting something that's not yours. You want it so bad that you're willing to kill somebody for it. That's what then stealing goes to murder. People lie because they covet, so they'll lie to get it. You know what I'm saying? They'll manipulate and be deceptive because they want something so bad. People commit adultery because they're coveting. People fornicate. What? Because they're coveting. They want something that's only is set between a husband and a wife. Yeah. Every commandment that we break, coveting is the root cause. That's why he said that coveting is idolatry. That's why we have to get rid of coveting. Coveting is really bad because it causes all the other sins. We really have to get our minds right. We can't be looking at things that's going to cause us to sin, thinking on things that's going to put sin in our mind. We have to be very aware. Yeah. But let's read 2 Samuel chapter 12, and I want to read verses 8 through 10. 2 Samuel chapter 12, verses 8 through 10. It says, "And I gave you the house of your master," because Yah is talking to David. Now this is Yah talking to David. He said, I gave you the house of your master and your master's wife. I gave you your master's wife because he took the king. He disqualified Saul from being king and gave it to David. He said, look, I gave you the house. I gave you your master's wives. He said, I gave you the house of Israel and Judah. He said, if that was too little, meaning if that wasn't enough, he said, I would have added this and more. He said, I would have gave you more wives. If you wanted more, I would have gave you all of this and even more. But verse 9, he says, why have you despised the word of Yah to do the evil to do this kind of evil, he says, in his eyes. He says, you have stricken, meaning you have killed Uriah the Hittite by the sword, and you have taken his wife to yourself to be your wife. He said, this was not yours to have. He's letting them know you coveting something that was not rightfully yours to have. And not only did you covet, but it led to you stealing someone else's wife. It led to the murder of an innocent man. Deception, because you're trying to cover it up. Even though Yah forgave the consequences, he had to reap what he sowed.
Yeah.
And he says, you have killed him by the sword of the sons of Ammon. And now he says what? The sword shall not turn aside from your house continually. He said it's not going to turn. You're going to constantly be dealing with stuff because of this. He says, why? Because you have despised me. You have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be a wife for you. People don't understand how serious committing adultery is.
Yeah.
Yah is very serious. Even he says if you look on another woman to lust after her, you have already committed adultery in your heart. So Yeshua's got you covered too. If you think that you can lust and look at naked women and think you getting off, he said, no, bro, I got you too. This is what happened with King David is the reason why Psalms 51 prayer, that's what Psalms 51 prayer is about.
Yeah.
Psalms 51 prayer. Let me look at this right quick. Because this is what David is crying and pleading to the Father. He was ashamed of himself after he realized what he did. He was ashamed of it. Psalms 51, and it says the Psalm of David when Nathan the prophet came to him. See, this is what he said after Nathan came to him. It says, and after he had gone into Bathsheba, he cries out, let your grace be to me, O Yah, according to your loving kindness, according to the multitude of your tender mercies. He says, blot out my transgression. Wash me completely from my iniquity. Cleanse me from my sin, for I know my transgression and my sin is ever before me. He says, against you, O Yah, and you alone have I sinned and done this evil in your eyes, that you might be justified in your speaking and be clear when you judge. So he's crying out. He says, purge me, purify me with hyssop, that I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Cause me to hear joy, and the gladness of the bones that you have crushed will rejoice. Hide your face from my sins, and blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O Yah, and renew a right spirit in me. He's crying out to him. Create in me a clean heart. He says, renew a right spirit within me, because he knew that he didn't have a right spirit in him. He was being deceived. He was listening to a seducing spirit, a spirit of lust. He says, restore to me the joy of your salvation and uphold me with a willing spirit. He says, then will I teach transgressors your ways, and sinners will turn back to you. Deliver me from the guilt of shedding blood. He's crying out, deliver me from the guilt. I don't killed another man, the innocent blood of another man. He says, deliver me from this guilty shame. He was ashamed.
Yeah.
That's what this whole prayer is stemming from. What happened in 2 Samuel chapter 12. That's what Psalms 51 is all about. He broke the sixth commandment. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And yes, David was a man, what? After Yah's own heart. David loved Yah, but he still was not exempt from being punished from what he did because it was horrible. Now, we talk about, let's go to Solomon. Because Solomon, Prina talked about what happened to him. Let's go to 1 Kings 11, verse 1 through 9. He was shown mercy because he was the son of David.
Mhm.
He was like, because David, because of my servant David's sake, look, I ain't gonna take all of them, but I'm getting ready to take one. And then after he died, as Prina said, the kingdom was divided and split in two.
Yeah.
Let's go to 1 Kings, chapter 11, verses 1 through 9, and we're going to wrap this up. 1 Kings, chapter 11, verses 1 through 9. And King Solomon loved many foreign women, even the daughter of Pharaoh, Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, Hittites, of the nations which Yah said to the sons of Israel, you shall not go into them, and they shall not go into you. They shall turn aside your heart after their God. Solomon clung to these in love, and he had 700 wives. Every time I just hear that, I'm like,
yeah.
700 wives. He was like the richest man. He had princes, 300 concubines, and his wives. That's what I said.
He had over 1,000.
Yes, and his wives turned away his heart. Okay, they turned his heart away, as Prina said earlier. And it happened at the time Solomon was old. His wives turned away his heart after other gods. And his heart was not perfect with Yah, his Most High, like the heart of his father David. And Solomon went after Asherah, that's Easter, the gods of the Sidonians, and after Milcom and the abominations of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil in the sight of Yah and did not go fully after Yah like his father David. So Solomon didn't serve David didn't serve Yah like his father David did. Okay? Then Solomon built a high place for Shemoth, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the sons of Ammon. And so he did for all his foreign wives who burnt incense and sacrificed to their gods. That's the reason why I don't do no burning no incense.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what spirits you releasing in your house. I don't do none of that, burning no incense and stuff like that. Because I know they do a lot of that in witchcraft and voodoo. But it says, and Yah was angry with Solomon, for his heart had bent away from Yah, the Most High of Israel, who had appeared to him twice. So we already know what happened to Solomon. And he never repented. He never repented. All the way to the end.
Yeah. So
in ending with this situation of having multiple wives, I want to say just a couple of things. Even though it may be permissible, okay, it has not been profitable overall. And certainly from the scriptures that we read, it has not contributed to affection and being more helpful. You know, he gave us his perfect will for marriage and the blueprint for us in the beginning. And although he did permit it, and that's why I keep saying this, because I don't want nobody comment on YouTube when it's upload. You know, you didn't say. I had somebody arguing when we did this a long time ago. You not listen very clearly. Make sure your ears are unplugged. He permitted it. There were laws for it. But it was not his will. And I'm going to say it wasn't his will because everything he did and the way it was done in the beginning, he said, when he finished, he said, it is good. Everything he did when it was done, he said, it is good. So I'm going to say this again, and many of you're not going to like this. You're not going to want to accept this, but we have to consider the following. Oftentimes, Yah will allow us to go and fulfill the desires of our hearts, even when it may not be his will. And we know this happens all the time. Many times when he will allow us to fulfill the desires of our hearts, many times when it doesn't align with his plan for our lives. But we, being the fleshly human beings that we are, what do? We do it anyway. How many times have we been worrying about a person or about a relationship or about a job, and that although we want it really badly, y'all knew that when we got it, we was going to be miserable and it wasn't going to be the best. You know what I'm saying? That job or that person, you know, although it was something that we desire and we thought would be good.
Yeah.
And even though Yah warned us, no, this is not what I want for you, or no, this is not my plan or perfect will for you, we go ahead and do it anyway. And don't say nobody say, that ain't never happened to me, because it's happened to all of us.
Yes. Mhm.
Now, the $1 million question is, was it sin? Was it lawful? Did it break the laws of the Most High? Did it break Torah? No, it didn't. How many times have you married somebody and then after you married them, you was miserable and like, what was I thinking? But at the time, that's what you wanted to do. But if you sit down in your quiet space, Yah warned you about that person.
Yeah.
But you wanted to do it anyway. I done been there, so I can speak on it from personal experience.
Yeah.
Was it permissible for me to marry a man? Yes. It's not against Torah for me to marry. What, did Yah allow it? Yes, he did, because that's what I desire to do. But was it profitable? Was it edifying? Did it contribute to peace in the end? I'm going to say for me, absolutely not. I didn't have no peace.
Mhm.
It was lawful, but I was miserable.
Mhm.
A lot of things that we want to do, a lot of people we want to be with, a lot of jobs that we want, a lot of things God's trying to protect you from, and even when he's putting up blocks and barriers, you're still trying to knock them down and get to that which is not for you, but he will allow it. It's lawful, but it wasn't profitable. It wasn't edifying. It wasn't mutually edifying. Maybe one person was edified, but not the other.
Yeah.
Do y'all get what I'm trying to say? Divorce. Let's talk about divorce. Divorce, because of the hardness of our hearts and man's unwillingness to keep their oath and the commitment that they make when they stand up and say, I love to, I will love and cherish and obey and be true to you, and for richer, for poor, for better, for worse, that people get up, they stand before witnesses, they stand before the Most High, they make these oaths and commitments. Y'all allow divorce, okay? It's not unlawful to get a divorce according to Deuteronomy chapter 24. It's not unlawful. Is it 24 or 4? I think it's 24. But it's not unlawful to get a divorce. People teach in the church, you can't get a divorce. That's a lie, because if that's the case, then you're trying to say Yah sinned because he divorced Israel.
Mhm.
Yah allowed divorce, but Yah absolutely hates divorce because it breaks covenant, because it causes curses. He made provisions for a divorce that under certain circumstances he would allow it. Is divorce profitable? No. It was permitted. It's lawful. But is there any edification in getting a divorce? No. Everyone, especially the children, are hurt and cursed.
Mhm. Mhm.
Everybody is hurt from it. Curses come from it. But it's still what? Yah allows it.
Yeah.
So this is what Yah wanted me to bring before you today. I wanted you to really ponder on what I just said and how I just ended this up. Let's recap a scripture that the brother said in the audio clip that we listened to. In Jeremiah, he read Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 7. And seek the peace of the city, whether I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray unto Yah for it. For in the peace thereof you shall have peace. So in ending, though we are commanded to follow the laws of the land, and if anyone is practicing polygamy in America, do you understand that you are breaking the law of the land of captivity in which Yah has scattered you? Do you understand that? He says, seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to go away captive. If anyone is practicing polygamy, having multiple marriages, multiple wives in America, you are breaking the law of the land of captivity in which Yah has scattered you. Because polygamy, or having multiple wives, or having more than one wife, It's sin in the United States. It's unlawful to do it. It's illegal to do it in the United States. This is a gentleman said, if you live in a country where it's lawful, then you're not sinning against the Most High. He did allow it. As we talked about earlier, he allowed things, but everything that he allows is not always profitable. Sometimes even with your own children, you allow them to do things after you try to steer them in a different direction. You're like, you know what? Sometimes they got to fall on their butt so that they can see. I told you not to touch that stove.
Yeah.
I told you not to jump on that bed. Now you got a big knot on your head. Maybe that's what you needed. It's not going to kill them, but now they got that knot to prove, hey, I don't think that was profitable for me. It wasn't. So, again, any woman entering into this type of covenant is not in a situation that promotes wisdom.
Yeah.
This is not promoting wisdom. As what we say, as edify is described in the Blue Letter Bible, it's not promoting wisdom. And I feel sorry for any woman that has allowed her husband to talk her into breaking the law in the land in which they have been scattered to in captivity. And we know from Deuteronomy 28 that we, the so-called African Americans, are definitely still in the land of our captivity. They let us know it every day while they whipping our butts and killing our people dead in the streets. We're still in the land of our captivity. We are not going to have peace in this land if we continue to break the rules in America. We have to train our children on how to act, especially if you got black men and black boys. You gotta raise them up on how to act with the police.
Yeah.
They already looking to find something on us anyway. We get profiled when we drive in a car. You go to certain places. They can't wait to lock us up and throw away the key. So we can't just give them a reason. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can't keep talking about blaming it on the white man. Use wisdom.
Yeah.
You got to know when to use wisdom. You got to know when to use wisdom. Some people, they smart, but they not wise. It's the difference between being smart and wise. You got to know, you got to have wisdom in these end days, or you're going to get killed. I'm telling you, especially if you're a black person in America. We are in the land of captivity. He says that we should be seeking peace and pray for wherever we at, because where peace is, this is where we at. We want peace where he scattered us. So we can't just give them a reason. Again, polygamy is illegal in the United States. Having more than one wife is illegal, period. Yeah. And don't come with that building and we gonna build and they gonna tend to the farm and the garden and all that. I don't even want to hear none of that stuff. I don't want to hear none of that stuff. He didn't send you over here to be built up. We over here on punishment. No person who is doing this or even thinking about doing this is going to have peace here. Yeah. Whatever you think you're doing here, secretly, because I'm talking to the Hebrews, a lot of the Israelites, because I see them. I see it in my news feed. I see them in these groups. I see it on YouTube. You're doing this. It's illegal to do that. When you get yourself locked up in jail, because that's what's going to end up happening. That's what's going to end up happening. You letting your husband and these men talk you into getting into this. And a lot of these men are being treacherous towards their wives. Yeah. They're taking on these wives and they're abandoning them. They're not taking care of them. It's a lot of foolishness and folly that's going on in Israel right now. When you think you're doing this secretly, but you're going to be found out, especially for those of you who are putting all your business on social media and putting it all on Facebook about what you're getting ready to do. And these men. Do you understand that there are a lot of government agents and spies that are in Israel? Do you understand that? I have been, y'all has dropped it in my spirit. There's certain people that were trying to befriend me, and he done dropped it in my spirit that they're agents. I have the spirit of discernment, and some people who think that I'm being fooled, I'm just sitting back waiting. Y'all reveals a lot. That's why I don't put none of my personal business on Facebook. Nothing about where I work and where I'm living and all of that stuff. Now, I went to the bathroom. Now I'm getting ready to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Who cares about you eating a sandwich? Go use the bathroom. Who cares? Everybody does that. There are a lot of you who are putting this information out on social media. I'm going to repeat this again, and y'all dropped this in my spirit this morning to bring this before you. There are a lot of government agents, and there are a lot of spies who are Canaan, they Shaloming, they are Kotian, right along with you. A lot of them in these camps. They doing it all with you. All while they tracking you and reporting your every move. They telling on you what you're getting ready to do. Oh, yeah, they getting ready to do something illegal with multiple wives. It is illegal to do it here. That's what today's lesson is about. It's not about is it a sin or not. We know that y'all made provisions for it. We already know about that. Me, I ain't going to never agree to it. Never, period. It ain't unlawful for me to not agree with it. It wasn't his original plan, period. And I ain't getting ready to talk about the Damascus document because that's not what this is about. We talk about the straight-up scriptures in these books. Yeah. What Yah has said concerning this. We are in the land of captivity. We are not in the land, and I don't know how many times I had to keep saying this. Our people need to focus on how to correctly walk righteously before the Father Yah. You spending all your time focusing on the wrong stuff. You worried about having a second wife, and some of you don't even know what fornication is. You don't even know what sex is. You don't even know what marriage is. But you want to go and hop in a second marriage. You don't know how to walk right according to the Most High Yah and His Word. You have no understanding of Scripture. But you got your tassels on. You got your hair wrapped up tight. You got on what you think in your mind is Hebrew garments. You got the natural hair. You know the Hebrew language. You got all of that. You got all of that. You got what the culture, what seems to be the culture down pat. But you don't know how to live righteously. You're just like the Pharisees and the Sadducees. You say and you do not do. I'm seeing too many people in Israel. They are concerned with the outward appearance. Our people need to get off of that soapbox. Stop trying to look like an Israelite and just be. You already are Israel. You're already the chosen people. Just learn how to walk right before the Father. That's all He cares about. He doesn't care if you have on a hair wrap or not. A lot of these women kill me. They think, because I got my hair wrapped up, every time you see them, they taking pics and memes with their hair wrapped up, and they think, I'm seeing more of them opening their legs wide for these dudes than women that's out in the street at the clubs. Personally, I don't get caught up in that. It's nothing wrong with it's lawful to wear a hair wrap, but it is not against the law not to wear one. We are still in the land of our captivity. We need to put this polygamy, multiple wives stuff on the back burner because, as I said earlier, we are not in the land. We are not kings who are on top. We are still captive slaves in the land that we had no choice on whether we was coming to or not. All because of our disobedience. We are still on the bottom. Still trying to live like we in Israel. In the kingdom ruling with Yeshua. You still with Caesar. You need to clean your contacts, straighten up your glasses. We still in America. We not ruling in the kingdom. Learn how to live right according to this word. Learn how to walk right. Because if you don't get this, He ain't going to care nothing about how tight your head is wrapped up, He ain't going to care nothing about no tassels because he talked about the outward appearance with the Pharisees and the Sadducees and how you can hear it dragging around the corner, and they made the tassels lengthen their tassels so everyone can see. They were just, that's what it is. A matter of fact, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like to me in Israel. Just like the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they want to be seen. That's what in Israel, we all into the dress. I like to dress just like the rest of them. But a lot of these Israelites, that's all they caring about. They want to look like Hebrews so bad. They spend all their time with that and don't even understand the simple things in Scripture, like sex is not marriage. They don't understand the simple things, but they looking like they Hebrew.
Yeah.
Just like the Pharisees. Just like the Pharisees, all they concerned with is the outward appearance. That's why he said, don't even look at Saul, don't look at his stature, his appearance. He said, because I have rejected him. He said, Yah doesn't look at the outward appearance. He says, I look at the heart. I'm going to end this again, and then I'm going to open this up for questions and comments. If you have a question about today's teaching, if you have a comment you want to make, you can press *6 on your phone right now. Press *6, and then you're able to come in and speak or make a comment. But I want to end this again with 1 Corinthians 10:23. All things are lawful to me, but not all things profit me. All things are lawful to me, but not all things edify. There are things, again, like I said at the beginning, that are allowed, that are not sin, that do not break Torah or the laws of the Most High, but it's not productive.
Yeah.
It's not edifying. We have showed you from all the examples, nothing good came from any of this. And it got started from Cain, the wicked seed of Cain. Who want to follow after that? I'm not saying that it's sin because y'all allowed it and he made provisions for it, but I don't believe that it was his will.
Yeah.
You know why? Because when they wanted to be kings, he said, look, you can't multiply wives.
Yeah.
He allows a lot of stuff that may not break Torah, but it's not profitable for us. How many times we have to get our hearts broken or finally get that job we think we want, and some of us sleep with the manager to get to the top, and then when you get there, it ain't what you thought it was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everything you think you want to do. That's why I'm like, okay, Yah, if it's your will, we got to call her. We're going to bring her in. But Yah, if it's your will, then let your will be done. And that's what we need to be praying now, that it will be, if it's his will for anything, let it be done. Because a lot of times we want things, and it's not his will. And then that's why I'm like, if this is his will, then open the door. Because if it's not, you're going to end up with something, and in the end, you're going to be miserable, and it's not going to be a good situation. And most of the time, you find yourself having to go start all over again because you didn't listen to Yah. So we're going to bring in, we have a caller, area code 248, 200. Shabbat Shalom.
Hi. Shabbat Shalom, Akotis, Shatan, and Prina. I couldn't wait to buzz in. This is a great message. You said everything that I was thinking and that should have been said, every point. I just want to read real quick Proverbs 12:1. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid. That's what my Bible says. They're stupid. Our stupid, lazy, ignorant, weak Hebrew men, and I'm sorry to have to say that, but all they did was bring in Babylon's laws into Israel's beliefs. And the women who allow them to do this, we are keeping our brothers stupid, ignorant, lazy, and weak, and that's all I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is started with Cain, and that should just be enough right there. He gave us a blueprint in the beginning for what marriage was. Everything he created and made in the beginning, everything he instituted from the beginning, he said it is good. It was good. He didn't even what he says, and that even if you want to be a deacon or an overseer, he says you must be the husband of one wife. Come on now. He allowed it, but everything is not profitable. We all the situations we read, nothing good came from any of it.
Yeah. No. We're supposed to be their helpmeets or their capable wives. When we allow them to do this, we keep them stupid and weak. We're not helping them.
No.
We need to grow up. We need to get wise, like you said, and help our brothers because they need help. I'm done. I'm looking forward to the conference.
Oh yeah, good.
Yes.
We y'all gonna be working. We gonna be working. Y'all tell all.
I see. I'm coming during the fellowship. I'll be there later. No, I'm joking. I need the wisdom.
It's gonna be good, but we're gonna have a lot of fun. We got some fun games that we're gonna be playing. I'm like really pumped and excited. I can't wait. And then we're also gonna be recording it too, so that we've been getting so many requests from people on YouTube, so we will be recording it so that they can get some learning and hopefully get some things that they can apply as well. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I'll
see you next week.
I'll see you next week then.
Okay. Shabbat shalom. Thank
shalom,
you
Prina. Shalom, Shatan. Okay.
So, Prina, your thoughts on today's teaching and everything? I mean, I had fun today. I was glad.
Yeah. I mean, it was. Listen, this lesson is well needed because a lot of times we see it over and over again. And I know you did a lesson on it, and it's just a constant reminder that we need to obey Yah and then to sacrifice and that's the key. We have to obey Him and what His law is saying. And even though He allowed it, where are we at now? In captivity. It's just like the flea doctrine. People want to flee to another country, but we still in captivity, and we have to follow what Yah has put in place and just get back on track. He just woke many of us up, and then they trying to. You run from one sin trying to find them, and then you get trapped and snared into it again. So just be obedient. That's the key. Be obedient to Yah's word, and if He say you have to follow the laws of the land, then you have to follow the laws of the land of where He placed you in captivity, and stop trying to add and take away and oppress and feel the lust of that's in your flesh.
Trying to use the laws of Israel. Like in the land of captivity and think that applies to here. That doesn't apply to here. We are not in Israel. We're not kings sitting on the throne ruling. Nobody is worshiping and serving us. You can't do it.
Punishment by Yah.
Yeah, we're still on punishment, and it's against the law here. So you're not going to have peace breaking the law when you're here. We have to follow the laws. We can't keep blaming the white man, talking about the white man got me down. No, you got your own self down by not following the law. You keep breaking the law and getting in jail and then blaming the white man when all you had to do is follow the laws of the land. Now, do they profile us? Do they kill us without a cause? Yes, they do. But what I'm saying is many of our brethren out here selling drugs, the white man hold me down. You can't keep using that. You already know that they hate us. We know that. But the thing is, we have to do a little extra and a little bit more than the other nations do to make sure that we don't get in trouble, because He says we got to strive for peace, run after peace, seek the peace in the land that I'm sending you. He sent us here to be spanked up. Okay, for us to be punished. They're the whipping tool to get us back in shape. So since we know that, and most of our brothers don't know that, but for those of you that do, and even those that don't, even if you don't know that we're Israel, as a black man or woman living in the United States of America that it is very dangerous to break the laws here. Because when you get pulled over, you don't know what kind of day that cop has had and what he's going to do. Yeah. We already know that their heart is evil towards us because Yah has put it in them for it to be that way. Since you didn't want to serve Him with joy and gladness, He says, now you're going to what? Serve your enemies. You're going to be oppressed continuously, and you're going to be constantly having no assurance of your life. We have no assurance for our life in this land. So while we here, until Yah delivers us from the land of our captivity, follow the law. So I'm going to leave it with this, answering the question that we asked at the top of this teaching. Can we practice polygamy in the land of captivity? And the answer is absolutely no. You cannot. It's illegal. Yeah. And those of you who get upset, don't go start bringing up Torah. We're talking about in this land of captivity. You can't do it. Mm-hmm. Yah has already told you can't do it. So if you was living in a land where they said it was okay, you will be good. Unfortunately, that's not where he scattered us. So you need to obey the law. And those of you who are in a polygamous marriage now, or even thinking about doing it, you need to repent. You need to stop doing it now. Mm-hmm. Because, again, as y'all dropped in my spirit this morning, there's a lot of government agents they Shalom and Canaan. They got their head wrapped up. They going to all the assembly meetings. They praying and, going to the feast day celebrate. They doing all of that. But their number one agenda is to track you. Yeah. And to report you. And as soon as they catch you doing something, because they all of this stuff is getting ready to go down. They got the camps ready. They waiting. Don't give Satan a foot. We supposed to be doing that because he said he seeks to shift you like wheat. Don't give him. You can't get an enemy. Don't give him no ammunition. Yeah. We already got enough battles to fight. Forget about the multiple marriage and start working on making sure that you and your household, your salvation is sure. Learning this Torah and learn how to walk it out righteously. That's the way.
And how to treat your wife. Submit to your wife. Not treat her treacherously. Yeah, treat her like a queen. Mhm. That's what you need to be focusing on, raising up your kids. In the ways of Yah, so they won't be turning out wicked as well.
Yeah, Yah seeks. He desires a righteous seed. Yeah. A wicked seed that the children. He said they're ashamed to their parents. Mhm. Anything else you want to add before we end our prayer?
No, I just a great show, and it was well needed. That's all I need. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so thank you, sis, as always. So anyone, again, for the conference, saying this once again, be there at 9:00. It's the Holiday Inn Express. That's in Novi. It's at the West 12 Mile location, not 8 Mile. Don't go to that one. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Because we have moved it to a better facility. Okay. And so check your flyers. Check your email because we did send a new updated flyer out a week ago. We need you there at 9:00 sharp because at 9:15 we're going to begin everything exactly because we need to be on time because we have all these activities timed out. We want to make sure we give you enough time to finish because we do have presentations and all those things. So I want to thank you all for joining us. I'm glad we got out in 2 hours. Yay.
Yay.
That's a milestone for me. And so yes. We y'all willing, next week we will be recording. I don't know if I'm going to be recording live. Okay, we're not going to be recording live, but I am going to be recording from the conference itself, and we'll be recording it, and it will be up by the end of the day on Saturday, August 13th. So the conference is on the 12th. By the end of that next day, I hope to have that conference uploaded so that you all can get a feel of what took place. So with that being said, Prina, lead us out with prayer, please.
Okay, I'm reading from 1 Chronicles 29, verses 10 through 13, and verse 18. And David blessed Yah before the eyes of all the congregation. And David said, Blessed are you, O Yah, the power of Israel, our Father, forever and ever. To you, O Yah, be the greatness and the power and the high esteem and the victory and the majesty. For all in the heavens and the earth belongs to you. O Yah, yours is the kingdom, and you lift up yourself to all as head. And the riches and the honor come before you, and you rule over all. and in your hand is power and might, and it is in your hand to make great and to give strength to all. And now our power, we are giving thanks to you and giving praise to your high esteemed name. O Yah, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, our fathers. Keep this forever for the intent of the thoughts of the heart of your people and prepare their heart toward you. In Yeshua's name, so be it.
In Yeshua's name, so be it. So again, next Sabbath, we will not be having an audio broadcast teaching on August the 12th. We will be having our 7th annual Biblical Teaching Conference, defending the epistles of Paul or defending the faith 2. We will be recording, however, but it won't be live. So, but those of you who do listen regularly and who have asked, we have heard, and we will be recording, so you will get an opportunity to listen as well as see some of the events that take place during the conference. And so we will resume the following Sabbath, which I believe is the 19th.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, we pray that Yah bless and keep you, that he make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you, that he lifts up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.